Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Target Center. Let's put our hands together and show those watching nationally on TNT that the Timberwolves are ready to roll.
Yes, it is a madhouse in Minneapolis. And why not? The Timberwolves, with one of the best home court records in the NBA, looking to draw even with the San Antonio Spurs in their first-round best-of-5 series, while San Antonio looking to move on. And welcome to joyous Minneapolis, everybody. I'm Dick Stockton, along with Hubie Brown and Dee Lynam. An impressive victory on Saturday for their first win for the Minnesota Timberwolves, but a major obstacle. They have never won a Game 4 of any of their 4 previous playoffs, and unless they get out of that tonight and get out of the logjam, they will be going home. And Hubie, looking at their victory on Saturday, one of the main factors was the fact that Tim Duncan only played 29 minutes and scored 15 points for San Antonio. Big edge for Minnesota there.
Well, I think you have to look at it this way. Minnesota, a lot of confidence. They've won 12 out of their last 13 games in this building. While Duncan was on the floor in Game 3, Minnesota a +8. They're being led by Kevin Garnett. In Game 3, 22 points, 8 boards, got to the foul line 10 times. But they needed help with the other 3 starters. And you're going to see, after 2 games, Brandon jumps from 12 to 21. Serbiak from 9 to 18. Peeler from 7 to 13. Now that's a big difference, Nick. We're talking 24 points. But from a defensive standpoint, they're doing a terrific job. They're holding San Antonio 11 points under their season average. Plus, they're winning the battle of the boards in the last 2 games, and they're forcing a rash of turnovers. Excited.
And despite their problems in game number 3, the Spurs had a decent chance to win the game. They are up 2-1 in this series. Are they operating on all 8 cylinders in your opinion right now?
Well, I don't think so. Anytime that you're the #1 team in this league in differential at 7.8 points, you're struggling with points. 3 games, they've scored 87, 86, and 84 points. Now, what's the problem? Well, Duncan and Robinson are getting theirs, but they're perimeter people. Terry Porter, he's shooting 67%. The other 5 guys are in the low to mid-30s. Now, this is a team that must make better decisions on the fast break, get some easy points, and then cut down on the turnovers, and please get back to rebounding the basketball.
And a special treat tonight. We have a game within the game. 2 of the great players in the NBA.
Well, you can see it right there. They played 7 playoff games. San Antonio has won 5. But the head-to-head matchups, Garnett is winning the battle of the points. Also the battle of the rebounds. Duncan shooting a higher average. But we are talking about 2 of the best.
We should have a lot of emotion tonight, just as the Timberwolves showed in winning Game 3. And welcome back to the Target Center. And right now, let's take a look at tonight's Gatorade starting lineup for the San Antonio Spurs. Danny Ferry, Tim Duncan, David Robinson up front with Derek Anderson and the veteran Terry Porter at guard. Wally Szczerbiak with Kevin Garnett and Rasho Nesterovic. The forwards and center for the Timberwolves, Anthony Peeler and Terrell Brandon at guard. And let's check in now with Dee Lynam.
Well, Dick, in a best-of-5 series, they call Game 4 the equalizer or the eliminator. And certainly for Minnesota and Flip Saunders, they are hoping the former. Flip saying earlier tonight that he considers his team a preparation team. When they have time to prepare, they play well. And so he has them prepared to play aggressive defense tonight like they did in Game 3, where they collected 12 steals and scored 26 points off the Spurs turnovers. Greg Popovich said the turnovers of his team, 18 of them, was the difference in Game 3. He made them watch the video because he wanted them to relive the pain. Tim Duncan said, Coach just likes to clarify things, and that film
the Spurs are banking on the best record in the NBA, 58-24. The Timberwolves banking on their best ever home record, including 12 out of their last 13 games. The officials working game 4, Dan Crawford, Bill Spooner, and Bob Delaney. The Timberwolves have never won a game 4. They were knocked out by Portland in 4 last year, the Spurs the year before in 4, and they want to turn things around. But remember one thing, you're looking at the number 1 versus the number 8 seed in this series.
And you have to look at it this way. Minnesota has the 8th seed with 47 wins. That's the most wins ever for an 8th seed. And they are playing well in this building.
And it points up the strength of the Western Conference this year. San Antonio with the first possession. Here is Duncan, and he puts the Spurs up.
Well, they're going to definitely go to Duncan and Robinson because both guys are getting big numbers in the series. The double teams have been working because the perimeter people of San Antonio are struggling.
And here is Kevin Garnett going in against the double team and scores. He beat both Derek Anderson and David Robinson.
Well, that's a tall order. Anytime that you play San Antonio, let's face it, they're right at the top, number 1 or number 2 in every defensive main stat that we have.
Again, they go to Garnett. To Duncan. Guarded by Garnett. Danny Ferry misses the 3 and the rebound by Garnett.
Minnesota very dangerous in the open floor.
Anthony Peeler with a drive to the hoop. And coming back quickly is Derek Anderson. Porter with a fake pass and the shot. And as Hubie mentioned, has been the most effective perimeter shooter of all of them.
Yeah, he's been on fire. He's shooting 67. He's over 50 in threes. And then, as always, an 83 to 85% foul shooter.
Brandon looking for Garnett. And Tim Duncan defending him. Here is Wally Zerbiak. And Zerbiak, who scored 9 points in the 3rd quarter and has been shooting tremendously.
They can get that all night, Dick, because that's a little curl move. Zerbiak off of the screen, and Ferry is following him. The shot is available.
Nesterovic starting at center. They dispersed playoff start on Saturday. Duncan finding Ferry in good position. Ball tipped out into the hands of Anderson. Plenty of time on the shot clock. Down low. Great pass from Anderson to Duncan.
That was excellent basketball. Totally unselfish. Anderson could have forced the shot. Potential of the shot clock. Made the right decision.
Tied at 4 here. Zerbiak again off the screen. Not this time. So tied at 4 in the opening moments. Spurs want to take the crowd out of the game if they can. They know it'll be a factor. And Garnett wrestling it away is a 2-on-2 and Brandon, and he doesn't make it go.
Well, they will stop and take that jump shot. Brandon loves that 15 to 17-foot shot off the side of the lane.
Here is Duncan at the top of the key. Long rebound to Peeler, and a 3-on-4 as the Spurs get back effectively on defense. Here's Garnett feeding Nesterovic with the basket. So a couple of good interior passes by both teams early.
Dick, Nesterovic has got to get himself open because every time Garnett makes the catch, you know that Robinson will leave him to come on the double team. He must create the passing lane.
And the foul called against Anthony Peeler. Another look.
Now keep a look right here. You're going to see that Robinson gets caught. He turns his head, and Nesterovic goes right to the front of the rim. Anytime your man leaves you or turns his head, get to the front of the rim, but create a nice passing lane.
Nesterovic had scored only 4 points coming into this game. In the series, they looked him to go to the basket and for shot blocking. It's a committee of centers that Flip Saunders uses. 4 in all. Anderson on the drive and an offensive foul as he charges into Wally Zerbiak.
Yeah, good call. Anytime that clock is down and you swing the ball at Anderson, you play him tight. He's going hard to the basket. That was a beautiful move by Zerbiak.
And we'd like to welcome those watching in Canada on Sportsnet. And of course, in Canada, Toronto will host Game 4 of their series with the Knicks on Wednesday night. So again, here's Nesterovic against David Robinson and hits 2 baskets. How unlikely is that by Nesterovic?
Well, you know that San Antonio will not double team down inside Nesterovic. What is going to happen is they'll go to him and hope that he will force him to play him honestly. Because Nesterovic does have some nice nice game with his back to the hole.
And illegal defense called against the Timberwolves. That is the first violation of the game. So Flip Saunders using Nesterovic as an offensive weapon early on.
Well, they're very pleased with he and Slater. And when you put Garrett into the mix, between all of these guys, they're getting 8 points and 10 rebounds. So they're doing a nice job at that position.
Minnesota by 4. Robinson with the jumper. And gets his own rebound, and it just hung up there. And it looked like the Timberwolves, including Nesterovic and Garnett, just stood around and watched. And Kevin Garnett. Let's see, there's a personal foul called, and it is against Garnett.
And see, that is totally unfortunate. You do not want to see that happen. Nesterovic played Robinson perfectly. The shot was short. Nesterovic never moved. Robinson just went right around him and picks up the offensive board. See, that's just bad defensive. Man fell asleep. You're supposed to block out your man. And then, unfortunately, Garnett, your key guy, picks up the foul.
David Robinson makes the free throws. Robinson, with enthusiasm of a rookie, his numbers have gone up from game to game, while Duncan's have dropped a little bit. Of course, he got into foul trouble on Saturday. Zerbiak trying to post up against Terry Porter. And Zerbiak spinning in, loses the ball. On the turnover, here comes San Antonio. And it's Porter. Follow-up missed by Duncan. So both shots missed by the Spurs, and Zerbiak from the outside tipped into the hands of Robinson.
Well, I like the early going. Right now, that's their 4th fast break attempt. Now, they only have 1 score, but they must keep it up.
Danny Ferry, who's all 4 baskets prior to that one were from 3-point range. That's his first 2-point hoop of the series.
Now, Danny's been struggling along with Elliott at that small forward position. Ferry at 33%, Elliott at 31. Neither guy has hit a hot streak.
And Garnett hitting. Kevin Garnett with 4 points. And the Timberwolves leading by 2.
Well, the game plan tonight is to have Zerbiak and Garnett get out on the perimeter a little bit more, but move them around from side to side of the floor. Let's see how it goes down.
Spurs 3 of 11 from the field, and the Timberwolves 5 of 9. And Duncan losing it, and picked up by Robinson, and the tip again by Duncan. So the Spurs missing several good opportunities inside. Brandon pulling up with the jumper. Ferry had it and loses it, and Nesterovic makes an alert play, and the foul is called against San Antonio's Danny Ferry.
Now, if you're sitting at home and you're saying, why so many jump shots on the break? Well, that's the way Minnesota plays. When they come down on that break, 3-on-2, 4-on-3, if the layup isn't there, they're going to stop and pop that 15 to 17-foot shot. That's their style of play.
Nesterovic playing a very fine first quarter with 2 baskets and alert ball handling. Brandon cannot convert. Garnett is back as Anderson brings it up for the Spurs. Timberwolves by 2. Robinson will take the shot from the corner, and the Spurs continue to struggle from the field.
Yeah, well, not only are they struggling, Dick, which is a great call, the other part is they're not getting any second shot attempts. And I like that if you're Minnesota, and the fans have got to like that. But can they keep them off the glass for the full 48 minutes?
Here's Zerbiak inside over Robinson. Wally Zerbiak. So you have one team that's shooting nearly 60%. And a timeout called by the Spurs.
Well, they're going right at Danny Ferry. You see, they're getting Zerbiak in the half-court offense as well as Garnett. Brandon is getting all of his attempts out in the open floor.
And there's Walt Zerbiak from George Washington fame in the old ABA.
On the old ABA, the Pittsburgh Condors. Let's resurrect it. But a great player for Real Madrid in Spain. Now, it's just a beautiful dump down. Wally has the baby hook game and a nice game with his back to the basket. To show you a telestrator with the basketball right here. You see Serbiak. Serbiak is right here. The screen is set by Nesterovic. Now, as Serbiak makes his curl, you will see that Danny Ferry is going to follow him. Well, that's going to be bad because if you notice in the early going, Serbiak continues to make that catch, whether he makes it right behind the screen or he's getting it at the foul line area. That is there.
Well, we've completed more than half of this first quarter, and we have not had 1 point scored by any of the guards in the game. So the 4 guards have come up empty. Malik Rose has come in the game. No, he is not. He took his jersey off, went to the scorer's table, and then went back. So it is the same lineup used by the Spurs, who trail by 4 points.
Yeah, I like the timeout. You have to regroup your ball club right now. You're getting some decent shots. You're missing, but the key is at the other end of the floor.
Here's David Robinson with a pump fake against Nesterovic. So Robinson with his second field goal of the game, coming off a 22-point effort.
Well, they feel that he can take Nesterovic in the hole, Dick. But the big thing right there is David just got away with a block. And there's no doubt about it. He dragged the pivot for it.
Can't call that against the Admiral.
No.
Tip ball by Robinson and picked off by Terry Porter. So the Spurs produce a turnover. And here is Danny Ferry for 3. Too hard off the glass, but Robinson gets the offensive rebound.
There you go.
Ferry will get another chance for 3 and miss again. Tipped up, and Robinson will lay it in. So the Spurs getting the turnover, missing a couple of threes, and pounding the offensive glass.
Now, this is San Antonio basketball. That's what we're waiting for to see in this series, that they pound a team that basically only has one really true great defensive rebounder in Garnett.
Garnett has fouled by Duncan. Duncan thought he had the ball, but he had part of the hand. And Bo Spooner right behind the play, calling it on Duncan.
Now, this is a nice ball fake. Now, as he steps up, Duncan thought that he got it. Yeah, he got the ball, but he also got the hand. Now it comes down to interpretation. Do you consider it a foul with the hand on the ball when the shot is released?
Duncan, who was hampered with 5 personal fouls, picked up his 5th with 9 minutes to go in the 4th quarter and only played 29 minutes. A big factor in the Timberwolves victory. Remains in the game, but David Robinson and Danny Ferry go out of the game. Malik Rose and Sean Elliott come up for San Antonio, and Reggie Slater, who was a hero, and the crowd yelling Reggie, Reggie, and Flip Saunders thinking that maybe Reggie Jackson was in the building with his great play on Saturday, has come in.
The major production on the Garnett stat line is the fact that in this series he's averaging 9 foul shot attempts a game. That's up from 5 during the regular season. And you love to see that when your main scorers are getting to the line.
Sam Mitchell also into the lineup for the Timberwolves. Anderson saving the ball with 6 on the shot clock. And Garnett picks him up. Anderson with 1 second. Duncan has to fire it up. And on the force, that was the best defensive sequence for the Timberwolves.
I like that. And once again, they're out in the open floor.
Peeler, who hit 2 big threes down the stretch, misses his first attempt from 3. Minnesota leading by 1. Porter unleashes it inside. Duncan from Derek Anderson doing a good job of getting the ball to the big people.
Now, when Slater's in the game, you're dealing with a guy 6'6", 280, and he makes good use of his fouls. Now, the major negative of the total game of San Antonio is the fact that Duncan and Robinson are not great foul shooters. And during the course of this season, Duncan shot it at only 62%.
NBA playoff coverage will continue tomorrow on TBS with the Bucks at the Magic, followed by the Jazz at the Mavericks. Both game 4s, and coverage will begin at 7 p.m. Eastern. Playoff action continues throughout the week on Turner Sports. So Duncan, free throw shooting problems continue, and the Timberwolves maintain that 13-12 lead.
Main thing right now, Minnesota, just stay with your game plan. You're pushing the ball hard. Garnett is kicking the ball out on the fast break. The ball will start to go down for you. But the big thing is you've got to do a better job on the glass.
Here's the pass to Malik Rose off of the turnover. So the Timberwolves, who turned it over 18 times en route to their loss in game number 2, unaccustomed are they to doing that. Slater against Duncan. Reggie Slater, who's only about 6'5" and weighs 270 with 6 points, 6 rebounds in 22 minutes, and drew Duncan's 5th personal foul, and a big hero in Game 3.
Well, they go to him, and that's by design, because they feel that he plays the angles of the board well.
And there's Sam Mitchell blocking a pass by Rose, and the Spurs turn it over. Timberwolves by 1. Here's Brandon penetrating.
He just can't get it to go down.
And Malik Rose with the rebound. A little pinball action going on. And finally, Brandon has it.
Yeah, Brandon is struggling right now. He's 0 for 6.
And lost it.
Yeah, but the shots are there for him. He's out on the break every time. Everything is happening out of the break. When they get into their half-court sets, naturally the emphasis going on either Serbiak, Garnett, or pivot play.
Antonio Daniels and Avery Johnson come in. Avery Johnson, who had been the starting point guard for the Spurs, and now accepting his backup role. Underneath the basket, missing the shot, got too far underneath the backboard. And here come the Minnesota Timberwolves again with Mitchell, Peeler, Garnett, Slater, and Brandon. Garnett out at the top, guarded by Rose. Nearly 2.5 to go in the first quarter. Here's Mitchell. Elliott staying with him. Slater setting a screen. And Mitchell going around, and the shot tipped around into the hands of Garnett. And Garnett loses it out of bounds, trying to get it to Slater. So we've had a flurry of turnover in what has been a bit of a sloppy first quarter here, but the Timberwolves have withstood the initial blast by the Spurs, leading by 1 in an effort to even the best of 5 at 2.
And Orlando's D. Brown, who hit 4 big threes in Game 3 the other night against Milwaukee, won't play in Game 4. Here's why. 7:42 to play. He was ready to check in at the scorer's table. Right about that time that Orlando and Milwaukee engaged in a big push and shove. And it was at that time that D. Brown made his way to the court. He was not yet in the game, and so the league has suspended him for 1 game and fined him $5,000 for leaving the bench and going onto the court during that altercation. He won't play in Game 4. Back to Dick and Hubie.
All right, Ernie, and in Game 4, we'll see again Tracy McGrady, who's been the leading playoff scorer thus far.
Well, D. Brown is a loss because he can come in off the bench with his playoff experience, hit the 3-point shots for the extended defense, and allow all those slashers that they have in Orlando to get to the glass. But they need to play a perfect game in Game 4.
Timberwolves by 1 with 2:15 remaining in the first quarter. San Antonio's been led by David Robinson with 6 points. He's out of the game right now, and here's Avery Johnson from the corner, fighting for the offensive rebound, and getting it is Malik Rose, and he gets the basket and is fouled.
Well, they are now rebounding like the San Antonio team during the regular season. They are pounding the glass. They know they have advantage, and everyone now down below the line is getting on the board. And in the last 3 minutes, they're putting up some nice numbers here off this offensive board.
Reggie Slater picking up his 2nd personal foul, and the Spurs leading for the 2nd time in the game by 2.
What happens, Dick, is that when you are getting a lot of fast breaks, your guys have a tendency to leave and go out on the break, like Minnesota, instead of getting back and getting the ball. You can't break until you get the rebound.
Garnett smoothly from the corner. So Kevin Garnett, who repeated only elite players, 20 points, 10 rebounds, and 5 assists for the 2nd time in his career, and he's practically at those numbers in this series. Under a minute and a half to go. Duncan, good defense by Slater that time, and Brandon comes down with it.
Yeah, Slater got a piece of that. Brandon, you have a 4-on-3 here.
Slater fouled. Oh, no, they don't call the foul, and Garnett has the shot blocked. I don't understand it. I thought Elliott fouled Slater clearly. And the crowd up in arms, and Flip Saunders practically in midcourt here. We're tied at 17 with 1 minute remaining in the first quarter. Rose lost the ball to Slater.
He's a tough dude in there, let me tell you.
He is.
Yeah, he's got great hands. He's got good hands, and once he gets his hands on the ball, very tough to dislodge it.
Here's Brandon.
Nice pass.
Slater from Brandon, and that's what Terrell Brandon does best.
He's excellent in traffic once he makes that commitment below the dotted line. You have to pay attention to Slater. He doesn't play big minutes, but he gets you big results.
Double team on Avery Johnson, and the pick and roll to Duncan doesn't work. So San Antonio out of sync here in the first quarter, yet only 2 points behind. Their shooting is not there, and Greg Popovich says if we make our shots, we'll be all right. We had the chances. Under 10 seconds to go, and Avery Johnson fouling Terrell Brandon. That is the first foul in the last 2 minutes. Not a shooting situation, so 8.4 on the clock.
Well, Avery Johnson looked over to Popovich and asked did he want a foul, and he said yes. They let the clock go down. He read it fairly well, but they still have 8 seconds here.
Samaki Walker in for Duncan. So Duncan is not in a position to pick up any fouls. He already has one in the game. Avery Johnson guarding Terrell Brandon, losing the ball. 3 seconds to go. Plenty of time, and Rose scores with 1.2. And a long pass the other way. Slater goes up, and no foul there either.
Right now, Flip Saunders is close to a technical right now. He's really close. Now, he has the right to be, because any coach in this league would be all over the referees in this situation. Slater has had body contact on his last 2 shots. And, you know, you're in a struggle. You're the underdog in this game. And now just watch this now. As he makes this move, you can see the body contact. He's definitely hit on the release. And Danny Crawford was right there to the left of your screen. No call.
Almost as if he didn't want him to get 3 points and wanted a foul to be sure. Nothing called, and we're tied at 19 after 1.
Coming this summer, see the story of a woman who started out a warrior and became something more. One of the most successful original movies on TNT becomes an all-new original series.
What is the Witchblade?
A mystery. You were chosen. You are special.
This summer, Yancey Butler comes to TNT. Witchblade.
Good strip, but keep an eye on Peeler and Garnett as they do not get back, and it costs them a layup. Now just watch this, Abe. They were back, but now what? They outrun the man on the long pass, and it costs an easy 2. Now we know they inbounded the ball, went long, and then we thought that there definitely was contact on the shot by Slater.
Start of the second quarter, and you can see the shooting. San Antonio 32%. Minnesota at 43%. Chauncey Billups, who did not play in Game 3, but started 33 games for the Timberwolves this year, is in the lineup along with LaFonso Ellis. Anthony Peeler short with the shot, but Slater cleans up. So Slater with 6 points, picking up where he left off Saturday.
That was just good movement by Slater. He moved to the open area as that ball came down because his man left him to go for the shot block.
Malik Rose with 7 points and only 5 minutes of action off the bench for San Antonio. Daniels misses, but Samaki Walker is there to tip it in.
Now the second chance points are starting to pile up right now, and they're doing an excellent job. They have 7 offensive rebounds in the early part of this game. Now, Dick, that is a ton.
And you kind of expected it so far in the series, but the Timberwolves have had more offensive rebounds, which really is unusual for a perimeter jump shooting team. The personal foul here is called against Samaki Walker. So Chauncey Billups at the point. Felipe Lopez also in the lineup for Minnesota. Slater missing a runner. So it's basically the benches of both teams, although David Robinson in the game at center. And Robinson is fouled. He was double teamed by Slater and Lopez.
Well, at playoff time, you cannot allow guys to get in and make an easy layup. If you have an opportunity to foul the man without him getting the ball up above his numbers, then you will reduce him to going to the line and put pressure on him to make both foul shots.
Robinson, a 65% shooter in the 3 games thus far. Makes the first. And Rasho Nesterovic coming into the game replacing Reggie Slater. So you see 2 of the 4 centers by committee that Flip Saunders likes to use along with Dean Garrett. Nesterovic, Garrett, and Lopez leaves it nice. Open in the corner is LaFonso Ellis.
Beautiful ball movement. Now Minnesota's second in the league in assists, so they like to move the basketball. That was totally unselfish. Two guys could have 4 shots, but they made the third pass.
Timberwolves leading by 1. Avery Johnson. Daniels driving over Ellis. Fine play by Antonio Daniels.
Right now on any type of a screen and roll out on the wings, Minnesota is following the dribbler. The guy, instead of stepping out and trapping, is getting caught too deep.
Spurs looking to add to their lead. They're up by 1, and here is Sabaki Walker fouled, and Nesterovic picking up the personal foul for Minnesota. So a nip and tuck game. We were tied at 19 after the first quarter. Timberwolves getting 90 points to win in game 3. It's the first time in 7 playoff games they had scored that many against San Antonio, and Flip Saunders says if we score 90, we can win again. Well, coming this summer on TNT, an all-new original series.
Powered by justice, fueled by evil. Coming this summer, TNT's newest original series, Witchblade.
Walker with 1 free throw. Spurs by 2. Phillips. Coming out of it, Antonio Daniels. Spurs looking to win and advance to the Western semifinals. Elliott's pass off the hands of Walker. Loose ball, Nesterovic. Second time he's picked up a loose ball on the floor. And Wally Zerbiak drives, gets the basket and the foul. He is unquestionably the spark plug. Garnett, of course, the superstar, but Zerbiak has been the spark plug. 6 points for him.
See, the difference of play for the Minnesota group. When Brandon's in the game, they're constantly pushing, and he's quick. Now, this is just self-made. Zerbiak took that ball in the middle of the floor, advanced it, and then attacked the rim. But with the second unit out here right now, the guys that are in the game, they cannot get caught up in their game. They've got to understand the game plan. Here's a half-court trap, a 1-2-2 half-court trap.
Avery Johnson with the foul. Timberwolves by 1. Here's Daniels for 3, and he's got it. So the Spurs getting some production on their perimeter shooting, something that was missing on Saturday.
Yeah, he's now 2 for 6 in this 3-point shooting contest. Anytime that you play a half-court trap, you're satisfied if the team will shoot a jump shot. That's what you're looking to do. Now, in that case, naturally, you wouldn't want it to be a 3.
Felipe Lopez penetrating and missing the short jump shot. Under 9 minutes to go in the second quarter. Dick Stockton, Hubie Brown, and D. Lynam here at the Target Center in Minneapolis. And here's Daniels looking for another 3, and he's got it. 2 in a row by Antonio Daniels, and the Spurs now lead by 5, their biggest lead of the game, and Flip Saunders wants to talk it over.
Now, you're playing defense. You know Antonio Davis is 1 for 5 in threes. He's not really a high 3-point percentage shooter. You know you're going to give him that in the rotation, but he is canceling you out.
And if you feel it in your toes, then you won't stop. And if it's deep in your soul, then you can't stop. And if you know what I know.
Well done, Tom Kelly. And there's Kirby Puckett, and the Hall of Famer from the Minnesota Twins, one of the more exciting hitters in baseball. And the Twins entertaining the New York Yankees, and in first place in the American League Central, and sending Brad Radke, their 4-0 pitcher tonight.
He's off to a great start. The Twins are off to a great start. When you look at their payroll and the Yankee payroll, it should be a mismatch, so the Twins will probably win tonight.
Well, it's a big night for sports here in Minneapolis, not far from here at the Metrodome. Meanwhile, the Spurs leading by 5, and Flip Saunders wanting to talk things over. Terrell Brandon and Garnett in there along with Zerbiak, Ellis, and Felipe Lopez. And here is Garnett in the air. Didn't have control of the ball. And the San Antonio Spurs on a roll right now. 18 of their 31 points have come from their bench players, including Avery Johnson, Sean Elliott, Leaving it out for Johnson. Looking for an open space. Had the open shot. Tipped up by Duncan. And it's last touched by Tim Duncan.
San Antonio is crashing 4 guys to the offensive board. Anytime that happens and you get the rebound and kick it out, you are going to have the advantage. Now we see that in the first quarter, but unfortunately, Minnesota cannot make a transition basket.
Zerbiak, though, can make anything from the perimeter.
He's on fire.
9 points, and he was one of the top shooters in the NBA this year, cutting the Spurs lead to 3. San Antonio wanting to get Tim Duncan going. He has only 4 points on 2 for 8 shooting, and a block by Garnett as he blocks David Robinson. And there is LaFonso Ellis. The baseline.
Yes.
And now the Timberwolves bench getting into the act, and the lead come to 1.
Well, David Robinson was upset because he got hit right in the lower back on the release of the shot.
Entry pass to Tim Duncan, who has scored all 4 points that he has in the first quarter tonight. Working his way in, and now Tim Duncan giving San Antonio the 3-point lead with under 7 minutes to go in the second quarter.
Anytime you have a jump hook and you put that shoulder right into the numbers of the defender, it's easy to go up and over the top of him.
David Robinson, his first foul. And Danny Ferry will check back into the game. Ferry scored 2 points when he was in there. And Terry Porter, the 38-year-old veteran in his 16th year. Porter in his 15th playoff in 16 years. A perennial playoff player, and reached the NBA Finals twice with the Portland Trailblazers. Good feed to Ellis from Brandon, and he's fouled. Good no-look pass by Terrell Brandon.
Brandon has missed a number of open shots. Now we know they're his favorite shots. Now he has decided, I'm getting into the paint, I'm going to force the big men to come to me, and I'm going to drop the passes off.
Tim Duncan picking up his second personal foul. So Duncan still trying to get his form back from game 1, where he scored 33 points. Dropped to 18 in game 2, 15 in game 3, and has 6 right now. And LaFonso Ellis trying to complete 2 free throws. Played all 82 games, and that is a great testament to a player that had 4 very serious injuries throughout his career.
Well, he's been in the league 9 years. He's only been healthy 3 years. He's missed a total of 232 games. But when he is healthy, he can put up some tough numbers. Now, they just caught him for a foul right now. I like what Flip Saunders said. You know, LaFonso Ellis is a total team guy. He'll play center for us or power forward. But in this series, he gets in foul trouble because he's matched up against David Robinson.
Yet he is the best offensive rebounder, pound for pound, that Flip Saunders has on his team. 6.5 minutes to go in the first half. San Antonio leading by 1. And Duncan losing the ball.
Nice double team.
Lopez. What a story he's been. Felipe Lopez, who was signed and played 10 games as a starter and played effectively. And another turnover. And right now, the San Antonio Spurs that were on a run, they had a 5-point lead, and they have become unraveled. And the Timberwolves with a 1-point lead and the ball.
Well, Popovich is protecting his point guard. He just gave Danny Crawford an earful about he was knocked off balance with a forearm.
So the bench getting the job done for the Timberwolves. Zerbiak from outside, and Lopez crashing the boards. He's been a pretty good rebounder for a guard. And here is Antonio Daniels feeding David Robinson for the basket. Robinson leading the Spurs with 9.
You have to be conscious when Daniels is in the game. He's the quickest spur from circle to circle, and he'll push hard. And that time, they were slow getting back in transition defense.
10 on the shot clock, under 5.5 to go in the first half. Zerbiak gets it out to Garnett. Here's Brandon. And the long rebound. And a loose ball foul as both Perry and Zerbiak hitting the floor. And the foul will be called against Danny Ferry. So Ferry has his second foul, as well as Duncan. We'll be right back. leading by 1, and right now let's hear the sounds of the game. Walt Szczerbiak, Wally's dad, in the crowd.
We got a lot of work, Dan. Yes! Yes, Wally! Yes! Keep in front of you. Don't foul.
Who is 5th in the NBA, shooting 51% from the floor, 4 of 7 thus far, and leading the Timberwolves with 9 points.
See, Wally Szczerbiak has been in this league 2 years. He's in the top 5 in shooting percentages both seasons. 51% last year, 51% this year. He's not a big three-point attempt guy, but you have to honor him on the spot-ups, and also if he has a mismatch in the post on a switch, he can get it for you down inside.
Kevin Garnett, who has led the Timberwolves in scoring in all 3 games previously, looking for his 9th point, and he has it to tie Szczerbiak for the scoring lead. But Minnesota has taken a 1-point lead. We've had 13 lead changes here in the first half. David Robinson looking for Duncan, who has scored only 6 points thus far. And a block by Garnett. That's the second Garnett block of the game. And here is LaFonso Ellis going into Duncan. No harm, no foul, and now the Spurs bring it up. So there was contact, but no whistle. And San Antonio looking to regain the lead. It has been a seesaw game here in this first half of game 4, with the Spurs trying to end it and the T-Wolves trying to send it to a game 5 in San Antonio. Terrell Brandon on the foul.
Well, that was interesting. That was eye contact. Terry Porter, David Robinson was supposed to go into the post. He gave him eye contact, told him to go one-on-one.
Duncan missing the hook shot from the baseline. He is 3 for 11 thus far. A slow start for Duncan, yet the Spurs trailing by only 1. Garnett now guarded by David Robinson. Garnett with a couple of pump fakes. Battle under the glass. Taken down by Duncan.
When you get underneath in a situation like that with Garnett, he did all of the right things, but he has the 2 7-footers hounding him, and they're both in the top 9 in shot blocking in this league.
So 2 big people against 1. That's the edge the Spurs have. Steal, and unable to control it was Felipe Lopez. But a daring attempt by Lopez.
Now just watch here. When he comes back, you're going to see Lopez gamble. Lopez is a better defender than Peeler. Peeler gives you the threat of the 3-point shot, and Flip just plays it by the feel of the game.
Lopez, who was once a #1 draft pick by the San Antonio Spurs before being traded to Vancouver and picked up by Minnesota and paid dividends late in the year.
I mean, you have to just be taken back a little bit by the perimeter game of San Antonio. That it was so good during the course of the year. They have really struggled in this series.
Danny Ferry on the foul as Szczerbiak trying to go under and around the baseline, picks up his 3rd.
Yeah, now just keep an eye on Szczerbiak. See, Ferry has him right there. There's no doubt about the call. Now they're running Szczerbiak off a staggered screen on one side of the lane and a curl on the other. Now, I like what Popovich is doing. He's not coming with Elliott right now. He's coming with Daniels. So, you have Anderson, Daniels, and Porter in the game. Now, you must be careful, Minnesota, because Daniels and Anderson on the floor at the same time. Look out.
And you also have the Twin Towers. So, you have enough size in Robinson and Duncan to go with those 3, quote, smaller players.
Well, they play big and then they play small. And this is their beef unit.
Timberwolves by 3. 11 points for Szczerbiak, and now the Spurs want to talk it over. They're trying to end it tonight, but they know how tough the Timberwolves have been at home. They've won 30 games on their home floor, their best record ever.
Muchas gracias, guys. Bartender, Bud Lights for the band.
Oh, no. For the great taste that won't fill you up and never let you down, make it a Bud Light.
Even though Jeep Grand Cherokee is more refined and civilized than ever, rest assured, it still hasn't lost its animal instincts. Now get 0.9% APR financing on select Jeep vehicles.
Introducing the John Deere SST lawn tractor with spin steer technology. The technology so advanced, it actually cuts time.
I was reading a book when I heard some birds. Do they think we're chirping when they hear us use words? But when I turned my head to look, I realized those birds were from my book. Every time I read, I find the words come to life inside my mind. I meet a cowboy in the Wild West, the finder of a treasure chest, the owner of a pizza place, Romans in a chariot race, a lady with a powdered wig, a farmer with his friendly pig. Don't you want to see them too? Then reading's all you have to do.
The NBA playoffs on TNT, brought to you by Jeep, makers of Grand Cherokee, Cherokee, and Wrangler. Legendary vehicles built to take you anywhere and everywhere you want to go. And by 1-800-CALL-ATT for collect calls.
The downtown skyline of Minneapolis as it looked this afternoon. But you talked about the perimeter shooters struggling for San Antonio coming into this game.
Now this is a big stat. And you can just look at the shooting here. Remember, Porter shoots 67%. Tonight they are 4 for 14, and Daniels has 2 of the makes, and they were both threes. You look at the clock for a shade under 4 minutes, San Antonio only has 35 points.
Game 5, if necessary, will be Thursday at the Alamo Dome in San Antonio. Anderson with a runner, air ball. Nesterovic is into the game and has the rebound. Lopez and Zerbiak are filling the wings as Brandon directing traffic with under 3.5 to go in the first half. Timberwolves by 3. Here is Garnett with a great move against Robinson, and it's flipped away, and a three-point attempt, air ball by Felipe Lopez, and releasing was Terry Porter for the Spurs easy basket.
Yeah, see, they'll leak a man out when they have these 3 quick guys out on the floor. Now, once again, bad court balance. The defense, when that shot goes up, your 2 guards have got to get back.
And Terry Porter fouling Zerbiak on the spin move to the baseline. Nesterovic checked in its center for Minnesota to join Garnett, Lopez, Zerbiak, and Brandon. The Spurs are in the penalty, so Wally Zerbiak will go to the free throw line. Timberwolves lead by 1. It has been a tight game throughout. The biggest lead either team has had was 5 by San Antonio. And this is a stay-alive game for the Minnesota Timberwolves. And a good point, despite the foul trouble for Duncan. Only 29 minutes played in the game number 3. When he was in the lineup, the Timberwolves outscored the Spurs by 8. Well, Zerbiak is 5 for 5 from the line, and Minnesota 10 of 11 all told, and that's not surprising.
No, they're just an outstanding free throw shooting team, 4th in the league at 79%.
3-point game. Anderson flipping to Daniels. He's already hit a 3.
There he is.
And he's hit 2 of them. That's his 3rd of the game. And it ties the score at 40.
See, I like that move. As soon as they made it, that's why we brought that up. Daniels is on fire here tonight. Why stay with Ferry or bring in Elliott, 2 guys who are struggling throughout the series, both in the low 30s.
Ferry on the bench with 3 fouls, stepping behind the line, but missing the 3 is Kevin Garnett. And good hustle by Zerbiak, last touch by the Spurs. Zerbiak in his second year. And a heady player. Approaching the 2-minute mark here in the first half. We were tied at 19 after the first quarter. We're even at 40 apiece here with 2 minutes to go in the half.
Yeah, they were trying to open up Peeler for a three.
Zerbiak blocked by Duncan. San Antonio trying to break the tie. And Derek Anderson stepping on the line out of bounds, turns it over to the T-Wolves.
With Derek Anderson and Daniels in the game, they are blurs off the dribble to the rim. You must be conscious of them in the open floor. And then stay with Terry Porter spotting up for the threes.
Anderson averaging 15 during the regular season. He has yet to score tonight. And his scoring has been down in this series. 6 on the shot clock. Nesterovic open in the corner. Look at the hustle. Zerbiak.
Oh, he got fouled.
Beats Derek Anderson and David Robinson for the loose ball. And Robinson will pick up his second personal foul. And the crowd giving Wally Zerbiak a well-deserved standing ovation for his tremendous hustle.
Well, not only is he scoring, he's banging on the glass. And just like he did in Game 3, he came up very healthy with 6 key rebounds, the majority of them in that fourth quarter.
But every rebound is being contested to the limit. And Walt Zerbiak looking up at the crowd and appreciating what his son has done thus far. There you see the supporting cast that Hubie mentioned from game number 3. Zerbiak has been the only one of the 3 to come through thus far.
Well, see, Peeler cannot even get in the flow. That's why they tried to run, coming out of that timeout, a back screen to set him up for a 3. They want to get him going. Now, Brandon has had his opportunities. He's just a little cool. Maybe he shoots around at halftime. He comes out and he'll get it going in the second half.
Zerbiak misses his first free throw of the game. Timberwolves leading by 1. 10 points this quarter and 14 for the game. The AT&T halftime report coming up. Preview of tomorrow's doubleheader matchup on TBS. Milwaukee and Orlando and Utah and Dallas. Both game 4s. Antonio Daniels, who has hit 3 from downtown, missed that time. And they want to make a clock adjustment. So Dan Crawford going to the scorer's table. The clock, 24-second clock, did not advance.
If you're on the coaching staff for Minnesota, you're very happy. You like the up and down. You're not happy with the fact that your guys are missing their shots, but you're getting what you want. So your game plan is good. At the other end of the floor, though, you've got to do a better job taking care of the defensive boards. And when other people other than Garnett get the rebound, get it out quick. He's the only one that ignites the break.
Garnett, with a line drive jumper, has 11 points.
He ignites everything.
Yes, he does. Remember, the Timberwolves won Saturday despite the fact that Garnett did not get a field goal in the fourth quarter. Minnesota by 3. Time remaining on the lower part of the screen, and a blocking foul called against LaFonso Ellis. That will be his second personal foul, and a shooting situation. Both teams in the penalty, so Terry Porter will go to the line.
That's the first time that LaFonso Ellis has been burned by jumping out and forcing the dribbler back. All of the other Spur players playing the screener have been below. And what is happening is the dribbler continues to get into the paint. He has done an excellent job protecting the middle against the pick and roll.
Duncan with 6 points and 2 personal fouls on the bench. And the Spurs trailing by 2 with Duncan not being the offensive force. There is Samaki Walker, who has reported in a 20-second timeout called by the Timberwolves. Minnesota has never won an opening round series. As we mentioned, they have failed to win a game 4. Flip Saunders' team losing to Portland in 4 last year. San Antonio knocking them out 2 years ago in what was a terrific series. They took Seattle to 5 games 3 years ago, and then Houston blanked them in 3 straight. So in their 5th straight playoff effort, the Timberwolves trying to get out of the first round.
I like what Popovich had to say about San Antonio tonight. He realizes the turnovers have cost him in the open floor points. Now tonight, the turnovers and missed shots are not costing him because Minnesota just cannot convert. He realizes that if he cuts down on his turnovers and they make good decisions on the fast break at their end of the floor, that will help the situation. Maybe they'll come out of their funk.
They had 18 turnovers, did the Spurs, leading to 26 Minnesota points in Game 3. There you see the turnovers have been kept to a reasonable number as Porter makes the free throws, and it's a one-point game. Porter is the only starting guard for either team to score thus far. That's
Here's a trap.
ironic.
First time that we've seen this. They're down the floor. See, what they're trying to do is get Brandon to give the ball up, but he's a heady veteran. He just came right back. But see, we're already down to 10 seconds.
Zerbiak going to Garnett, guarded by Samaki Walker. Garnett with a turnaround, and Walker getting the rebound. Good sequence by Samaki Walker off the bench in place of David Robinson, and a timeout called, and that'll be a 20, this time called by Greg Popovich.
Popovich has done a smart move here right now. He has the two big horses, Robinson and Duncan, on the bench so they don't pick up anything. And then also, right now, he's got a lot of quickness out there, and then he still has a big rebounder in Samaki Walker. Now, you like, when you call a timeout now, you want to get excellent. The execution is the critical key here. Be careful of off the dribble into the paint, and then the kick out wide for a three-point attempt.
There's our comparison that we talked about at the top of the game. Garnett nearly is doubling Duncan in scoring, has the edge in the rebounding. Duncan struggling, 3 of 11 from the field, and has 2 personal fouls. Garnett has only 1.
Well, when you think about it, Kevin Garnett is one of the premier defenders that we have in this league. But at the other end of the floor, he is going against Duncan and Robinson on all trap situations, and that makes it difficult for his offensive game.
Tim Duncan in the game for San Antonio, and Sam Mitchell checks in for the Timberwolves with 16.6 seconds remaining, practically playing for the last shot of this first half. Timberwolves by 1. Here is Derek Anderson, can't shoot it. And now 5 on the shot clock. Daniels can't go anywhere. And Duncan with 1 second puts it up and scores off the glass to give San Antonio the lead at intermission. So it looked like the Spurs had nothing, Hubie. And then Duncan got it and spun around and banked it in. Only 4 for 12, but this one gives them the lead.
You can see it right here. It's just a nice move by that cutter going through. Zerbiak had to honor the cutter. That did not allow them to double team in the post. And you can see they stayed out on the perimeter not to give him the three-point shot.
Right now, let's check in with D. Lineup.
Antonio, I know it might not have been the shot you wanted at the end, but certainly a great momentum shift to take the 1-point lead at the half.
Yeah, it's always good to go in the locker room with that momentum on the side. We kind of got stuck with something we didn't want, but Tim made the best out of it.
You made a lot of perimeter shots, but in general, you guys have not been able to make shots. How can you make those in the second half, the adjustments?
We just got to keep stepping up and shooting them with confidence. I mean, sometimes they're going to go and sometimes they're not. But the key to our team is to play together and to play with confidence, and we'll be okay.
All right, thanks for your time. Good luck in that second half. Dick?
All right, D. Daniels with his 11 points leading the Spurs. Wally Zerbiak, the top man for the Timberwolves with 14. So a tight one and a good one here in Game 4 with the Spurs leading the Timberwolves by 1, 44-43 at the half, as we send it to Ernie Johnson in our studio.
All right, thank you, Dick. And Antonio Daniels, the only Spur in double figures with 11 now, but they lead by 1, 44-43. Duncan's got 8. David Robinson has 9. Derek Anderson yet to score over 3. Wally Zerbiak, 14 points, leads everybody. This is the AT&T halftime report. I'm Ernie. This is Kenny.
No, I'm like a little bit Ernie.
You got a little something.
A little
going.
Ernie today.
You forget to shave?
Surprise you now, man. I'm like growing it for a day.
For a day?
Yeah, for a day. See, it took yours how long? 3 months. A man can grow it in a day.
Mine looked like that in a day. At any rate, it's 44-43. And the San Antonio Spurs trying to end this thing because you never want to take it to 5 games because you never know what's going to happen there. It's that Minnesota's tough here tonight.
Yeah, Minnesota has changed their game plan from Game 3 and Game 4. what they had done early in the first 2 games. You know, the first 2 games, they were very perimeter. San Antonio took advantage of the long rebounds, made them into transition baskets. But this is a different Minnesota team now. A team is doing different things. This is a play that they use all the time. They have like a guard around, they run it. But usually Zerbiak comes out. But now it surprises Derek Anderson. He posts in the low post. He says, I'm getting low post baskets, some good shots. Here's another instant. Reggie Slater, he penetrates. He pitches out to Garnett. This is a shot that Terrell Brandon normally takes. He penetrates in, dishes it to Slater. They're making a concerted effort to go to the basket, and that's a big difference. And I think that's why they're won Game 3 and on the verge of winning Game 4.
What's your gut tell you about this one in the second half?
If they play that kind of basketball in Minnesota, I think they would beat the San Antonio Spurs. When they go perimeter, they don't get anyone else in foul trouble. They don't get Duncan. They don't get Robinson in foul trouble. They put no pressure on the defense, and they're easy to guard.
Game 5 would be Thursday at San Antonio. Right now it's 44-43 at the break. San Antonio leading Minnesota. When we come back, we'll look ahead. Can T-Mac and the Magic send that series back to Milwaukee? Huge night for McGrady in Game 3. And might Steve Nash and the Mavs force a 5th game in Utah? We're talking Game 4s next.
The AT&T Halftime Report is brought to you by AT&T, proud sponsor of the NBA. This game without the express written consent of the National Basketball Association is prohibited.
And welcome back to the Target Center in Minneapolis, where at halftime, Game 4, the best of 5 opening round series. Kevin Garnett, who scored 11 points in the first half, coming back on the floor for the warm-ups. Timberwolves need to win this home game, otherwise their season is over. And so far, they're hanging in there with the San Antonio Spurs, despite the fact that Tim Duncan has yet to explode offensively.
Well, look at Minnesota. Zerbiak and Garnett have 25 points. The center position, the 3 players, 16 points and 7 rebounds. That's a major plus. But the 4 guards that we're rotating here are 1 for 13. It's got to step up. At the other end of the floor, San Antonio, second chance points, easy points, they're a +8.
Now let's take a look at tonight's American Express leaderboard. The shooting, 40% for the Spurs. But the bench points, big edge for San Antonio.
Yeah, well, that's because Antonio Daniels came in and did a fantastic job with the 11 points, but making 3 out of 4 threes. That was a major shot in the arm.
All right, as we always do at halftime, find out what the fans in the stands feel about the first half. So here is tonight's fans' take.
The Timberwolves played well in the first half, but they need to have better defense.
They played all right in the first half. But to win, they have to have Brandon and Peeler step up and make some key shots.
They played very well in the first half, and I think Kevin Garnett got to get a little bit more warmed up.
They got to get more rebounds, and Terrell Brandon has to make his jump shots. And they got to foul Duncan out.
Well, they're trying to do that. I mean, Duncan has 2 personal fouls, but every one of the points by the fans are really right on the money. How about the young kids saying they got to step up? They want my job.
No, well, the 2 young guys are right on the money. You know, the fact that Peeler and Brandon have got to make their shots. Yeah. They've got to take care of the boards. Come on, that's hitting it a home run right there.
Hubie, I think from now on in the playoffs, I'm going to have you sit in the 4th row, and you'll be one of the fans that we use for fans' tank.
There we go.
Right? Your ideas meshing in with the fans. It's great to see them here at the NBA arenas, and the home court advantage is what Minnesota really banking on here.
Big thing right now. Minnesota guards have got to step up and be heard. You cannot be 1 for 13 in the second half. At the other end, we all know that Robinson and Duncan do not have big numbers. They're being defensed well, but the perimeter people must step up and shoot a high percentage other than Daniels.
Let's check in with D. Liner.
Well, right along with what Hubie was saying, Flip Saunders said, if you would have told me that Peeler and Brandon wouldn't have a point in the first half and we were only down by 1, I would have been thrilled. He thought that his entire team played with great intensity. Those guys to continue to do that, he said they've got to be involved offensively to keep the intensity up at the defensive end. Dick?
Terrell Brandon had to be right next to you when you made that comment.
Right on cue.
Gets his first points, and the Timberwolves lead by 1 after Duncan hit the bank shot as time ran out to give San Antonio the halftime lead, and Danny Ferry coming right back with a basket. So this should be a spirited second half with the Minnesota Timberwolves season on the line. Garnett, who has 11 points. Peeler off the screen. Here's Nesterovic, who had good play in the early going. 5 on the shot clock, and they're going to call Zerbiak with the offensive foul.
You always like to tell players one bounce gets you nowhere, and the defense was right there. All that could happen was a negative.
Flip Saunders, whose 15-year-old son Ryan celebrated a birthday on Saturday, and the team won on Saturday, but that's only part of the job done. They got to force a 5th game if they survive tonight.
Now Nesterovic, we told you the 3 centers, Nesterovic, Slater, and Ellis. 16.7 rebounds. Can they do that in the second half?
Derek Anderson, who has yet to connect from the field, misses. San Antonio with a 1-point lead. Garnett defended by Duncan down low, and Garnett feeding Nesterovic, and 3-second violation called against Minnesota.
Now that was a beautiful move by Garnett. That's the part of his game that is exceptional. He averaged 5 assists a game for a guy who gets you 22 points and 12 rebounds. That is a very impressive stat.
And came into this game averaging 4 assists, so he's right at those numbers. Porter trying to feed it to Duncan. Ferry for 3. He's got it out now. Danny Ferry, who is an outstanding 3-point shooter for the Spurs this year, and it's a 4-point lead. Very, very quiet shooting-wise other than 3s in the series. Peeler missing a 3, but Garnett corrals it in the corner.
Minnesota's at their best when they get in and they get that movement.
Brandon, top of the key.
Got it.
David Robinson with the rebound. Robinson's 10th rebound. He had 17 in the last game. Garnett trying to overplay Duncan. The ball knocked out of bounds. Last touch by the T-Wolves.
Very smart move by Brandon by coming around on the baseline side. Prevented Duncan from making a clean catch.
Porter finds Derek Anderson. Defended by Peeler, who has yet to score, and Duncan works his way in for his 10th point of the game. And a quick timeout called by Flip Saunders as the Spurs have opened up their biggest lead of the game.
I like the timeout. You do not want them to get away from you right now. They just came out with a quick burst.
That was a 7-0 run for San Antonio, forcing the timeout.
In on the top side, he's calling for this pass, but right here you're going to see Brandon leave his man, come in and strip the ball from Duncan. That's excellent rotation from the weak side, especially when that offensive player had an advantage.
And the defense for the Timberwolves, one of the surprise factors for them as they won game number 3, but now faced with a 6-point deficit. And as you mentioned, Kevin Garnett shoulders a lot of the burden, but Zerbiak, Brandon, and Peeler have to come through, and so far Zerbiak is the only one who's done it.
Also give great credit to the San Antonio team. At halftime, they only had 7 turnovers, and that's a big drop-off from 18 for the game in Game 3.
Here's Garnett, defended by David Robinson. Kevin Garnett going up, foul. Garnett working his way with feints and fakes. And David Robinson now with his 3rd personal foul. So of the front line for the Spurs, their starters, Ferry and Robinson each have 3, and Tim Duncan with 2. So as Garnett goes to the line right now, let's take a look at the Emmy Award-winning drama that's coming to TNT this summer.
Coming this June, get caught up in the Emmy Award-winning drama, Law and Order, Tuesdays at 8 on TNT.
Garnett trying to bring the Timberwolves to within 4 points. He has scored, if he makes this free throw, 13 points But Brandon has only 2, and Peeler, the streaky shooter, has yet to score tonight.
See, Serbiak has 7 foul shot attempts, Garnett 6. That's 13. The rest of the starters, 0. They've got to get in some kind of a slashing mode here so that they get some easy points.
Duncan has it blocked by Nesterovic, now driving in against Garnett, and the foul against Kevin Garnett. That'll be 2 against the Timberwolves young superstar, who will turn 25 on May the 19th and has matured tremendously. So Duncan shooting 2 so far tonight, has missed 2, and now he is 0 for 3.
Well, we told you during the year he has struggled. He only shot 62%, and in this series he's shooting 64%. It isn't like he is not getting to the line, because he gets there 8 times a game. The big thing right now is he's lost his confidence. There's no doubt about it. Total concentration.
He does make 1 out of 2. San Antonio 8 of 13 from the free throw line, leading by 5 with 3 minutes gone by in the third quarter. Here's Peeler trying to get on track. Not yet. Nesterovic knocks it into the hands of Garnett.
Oh, nice
and he tried to get the pass to Nesterovic. He wasn't ready, but recovered. And the presence of mind to get the loose ball and score. And now the foul called as Peeler picking up Derek Anderson. And the foul called against Peeler.
Now, Nesterovic kept that alive. A nice deflection by Garnett. Beautiful pass. Anytime that you're close to Garnett, you better keep your eyes open, because if he feels that he has to force something, the majority of times he'll give it up.
Well, he felt the ball on his hip before he knew what was coming. And Terrell Brandon with his second personal foul. But Nesterovic finally scored, and the Spurs, with a 3-point lead, will take the ball out of bounds. Danny Ferry with Duncan and Robinson up front. Terry Porter and Derek Anderson, their starting 5 in there.
Yeah, they're trying to get the ball over to Duncan, posting up on Garnett one-on-one.
Duncan passes out of the double team. Ferry finds an open space and an air ball.
4-on-3. Peeler.
Anderson doing a good job of staying with Brandon, who scores anyway. You couldn't ask for more from Derek Anderson.
Now, he played him well, but see, Brandon is cute. He's got a lot of moves, good head fakes, and he doesn't rush things. He takes his time. Let's hope that he's off the schneid now, and that he continue and can run a little straight.
So a 6-point lead for the Spurs, cut to 1 with under 8 minutes to go in the third. Robinson going up against Nesterovic.
Now, Flip Saunders is all upset. See, if you're coaching that team, you're upset because Nesterovic did not get the call. Because as Robinson makes his move, Nesterovic plays him well as he can, and Robinson just goes right into his chest, and he gets the call. That is so exasperating when you're coaching a guy that you thought gave you pretty good defense.
Second personal for Nesterovic. David Robinson hits them both. San Antonio by 3. If the Spurs win this game, they'll wrap it up and will play the winner of the Utah-Dallas series. Right now, that series stands 2-1 in favor of the Utah Jazz. Zerbiak stepping back, but Ferry staying with him. 5 on the shot clock. Zerbiak using the Nesterovic as a screen. 16 points as he picked his way.
See, they can play 2-man on that side, just using Wally coming off curling. Even if he makes a catch like there and he had nothing, he went right back to the same screen type of a situation. That is there.
Zerbiak has 16, and 3 are tied with 11 for the Timberwolves. Swooping in. Not to be denied was Tim Duncan, and his 13 points is the scoring lead now for San Antonio.
That's splitting the trap with Thunder.
So Zerbiak with 16, leading Minnesota. Now Duncan with 13 tops the Timberwolves. Brandon hitting the open jumper, so he's finding the range now.
They're going right back to the same move. See, they're running, coming off that curl. They're opening up the middle of the floor. They're coming off of that curl and then coming back if you defend it.
Porter with the drive, falls off the rim.
Come on, the guard is open.
Minnesota looking to regain the lead. The 2-point attempt missed by Brandon. So the Spurs still with the lead and the ball. Porter will fire from the corner. Tipped away by Garnett. And last touch by Minnesota, but into the crowd, and both Brandon and Garnett trying to peel away Anthony Peeler, but Garnett made a good play there, saved the basket.
The Porter and Brandon are playing one another. By Porter staying in the backcourt, Brandon got the open three. When they threw it down the floor, Brandon was nowhere near Porter because he had not crossed half court. That's why Porter opened up in that left-handed corner.
Double on Duncan. Garnett won't let Ferry fire the three, and Zerbiak steals the ball from Duncan. Zerbiak against Ferry, goes behind his back. Peeler still coming up empty. Anthony Peeler 0 for 6 from the field.
4 on 2.
Ferry will fire a three and hit. So Peeler misses a three at one end, and Danny Ferry hits his second three at the other, and the San Antonio Spurs lead by 4. Danny Ferry has 8 points this quarter. Minnesota still looking for their first three-point field goal of the game. The Starovich open at the top, way off the mark.
You have to be careful right now. You got to be really careful. If you take those long threes and you miss them and they kick out, look out. Now these guys right now.
Robinson is fouled as he got the pass. They were fronting him and will go to the line, and this is a crucial moment for the Timberwolves in this game.
Yeah, San Antonio doing a good job now off of misses. In the transition, they're running Robinson and Duncan right to the dotted line in the paint, right in front of the rim, and they're looking there first. If that's not there, they're going to kick it out for the three in the corners.
Starovich with his third personal foul. So Robinson with yet another double-double. He has 12 points and 11 rebounds, coming off a 22-point, 17-rebound game in a losing cause. But now San Antonio leading by 6, matching their biggest lead of the game, approaching the 5-minute mark here in the third quarter. Spurs led by 6. Timberwolves put on a run, and Peeler can't find a range. He is way off it tonight.
See, they continue to give him back screens out beyond the three-point line, hoping that he'll make the three.
Robinson knocked away by Peeler. Last touch by Anthony Peeler.
Now they're coming right now with Lopez
and Slater.
Yeah, and what they're looking here is to change the look. Lopez is a slasher at the offensive end, a better defender, and what they're doing is just to give Peeler a break right now. He's definitely off his game.
He's 0 for 7 from the field, and the Timberwolves are going to need his range before this one is over if they can extend the series, and if they want to do that. Lopez tipping it, and a foul called. Lopez with the hustle, and Slater chalking up his third personal foul, and Timberwolves in the penalty, and Robinson going to the line again.
When you're the defensive team, Dick, you cannot leave the area until the rebound is secured. They had 2 guys who were already breaking out into the lanes, and that ball hit the floor at the foul line area.
David Robinson is 8 of 9 from the free throw line. Far better than his season percentage of 75%.
Yeah, he's making them tonight. In this series, though, he has struggled. He's only been shooting him at 65% in the series.
8-point lead now for San Antonio. Felipe Lopez in the backcourt with Garnett, Slater, Zerbiak, and Terrell Brandon. These are big moments for the Timberwolves. Garnett over Robinson, and a foul. Robinson got him on the elbow. Robinson shaking his head, but he'll be charged with his 4th personal foul, and a move will have to be made by Greg Popovich. He'll go out of the game, replaced by Malik Rose.
Now, David Robinson, you're right on it, Dick. He's having an excellent night in every facet, making his foul shots, the scoring and the rebounding, and also the helping any time that Garnett is getting by his man. He's coming strong on the double team, and then if Garnett misses, that man that Robinson left must come up big here now.
Well, Garnett, who did not score in the 4th quarter in Minnesota's victory Saturday, has not had a field goal since the 1st quarter tonight. He has been doing it on the free throw line and looking for his 15th point of the game. Want to remind you, NBA playoff coverage continues tomorrow on TBS. Bucks and Magic, followed by the Jazz at the Mavericks. All game 4s. Coverage begins at 7 p.m. Eastern, and then playoff coverage continues Wednesday on Turner Sports with triple-header action. And the action really continues all week on the Turner Sports. Missed shot that time by Duncan, who has 13 points. Garnett with the rebound. Brandon penetrating with the short jumper. Doesn't fall, and Duncan clears it. Under 4 minutes to go, third quarter. 6-point lead for San Antonio. Spurs led by 1 at the half. We were tied after the first quarter. 2-man game. Duncan guarded by Slater. Berry with the hot hand here in the third quarter. Malik Rose missing the shot at the buzzer, and Minnesota coming back trailing by 6 points. So every time the Spurs have opened up a 5 or 6 point lead, Timberwolves have come back.
In the early going, San Antonio doing a terrific job on the defensive board, holding Minnesota to the one-shot attempt.
Ferry open for 3.
Yeah.
He's got it.
Yeah, he's on.
Danny Ferry with his third three-pointer. And Ferry now has 11 points in the third quarter. And it is a 9-point San Antonio lead. A danger zone right now for the T-Wolves. Under 3 minutes to go. The double team on Garnett. Lopez for 3. And Slater keeps it alive, but the Timberwolves need some offense besides Garnett and Zerbiak. Zerbiak misses. And the loose ball stolen away by Terrell Brandon. Great hustle as he grabbed it away from Ferry.
Yeah, they got to get back to movement. They're standing around right now, and everybody's trying to make up this difference by themselves. Get back into your movement that you're famous for.
Brandon. And it drops.
Every time they do that screening down on both sides of the lane, Dick, and they're coming off the curls, they have hurt San Antonio all night.
All 8 points by Brandon here in the third quarter. And now Greg Popovich out to argue with Dan Crawford. Timeout is called by the Spurs, who lead it by 7. As part of the Twin Cities along with St. Paul, as the San Antonio Spurs leading by 7 in the waning moments of the third quarter.
Well, the perimeter game is going right now. You're going to see a pass to this side of the floor, but keep an eye on Danny Ferry as he spots up on that left side, on the right side. Now keep an eye on it now. Now when he knocks down this 3, he is 3 for 6 in threes. He has 11 points this quarter, and it emphasizes the San Antonio game. They're #1 in the league in three-point shooting at 41%, but in the 3 previous games, the perimeter guys could not light a fire, could not get going.
Ferry is 3 for 3 this quarter from threes. So the Spurs have had great contribution by role players in each quarter when they've needed it. Malik Rose, 7 in the first. Antonio Daniels, who's in the game, had 11 in the second quarter. And now Ferry with 11 in the third quarter as Duncan, let's not forget him, he has 15. And again, it's a 9-point lead for the Spurs.
Well, this is San Antonio basketball. They're stifling at the defensive end, and now they're playing inside, outside, and when they're doing that, they're very, very tough to beat.
Chauncey Billups into the game at point guard as Malik Rose committing the personal foul. That is only the 3rd team foul against the San Antonio Spurs, so they have hoarded their fouls well here in the third.
First, though, within the last 2 minutes, Billups with Zerbiak, Garnett, Lopez, and Slater. Garnett, clutch basket. They needed that from him. He's got 17.
With Malik Rose at 6'6", 6'7", playing Garnett, they can hit him in the post at any time, and if he'll catch and make the quick move, he'll shoot up over the top of him.
Garnett's first field goal since the first quarter.
And they've got to go to him now, Dick, because of the matchup.
Daniels finding Rose. Nearly lost it. 3 on the shot clock, and Daniels hits another one. That's 4 3-point baskets. So Antonio Daniels with 14 points, and those role players are getting the job done tonight.
And the 3-point shot has been the killer.
7 of 12 is San Antonio. That's 21 points to nothing. Minnesota still has not connected. Garnett with a turnaround. And the rebound by Perry. With nearly a half a minute remaining, the lead is 10. First double-digit lead of the game. And the Spurs, the team with the best record in the NBA, trying to knock out the Timberwolves tonight. Perry claiming he was fouled, and Zerbiak got a piece of that shot, apparently.
With San Antonio making and shooting such a high percentage this quarter, no fast break opportunities for Minnesota.
Zerbiak with the fall away. So Wally Zerbiak coming up with another good game, 18. And the final seconds of the third quarter. Avery Johnson spinning his way in and misses as time runs out. But a convincing third quarter for the San Antonio Spurs, paced by Danny Ferry, who hit all 3 of his 3-point attempts, 11 of his 13 points. And the San Antonio Spurs will take a 71-63 lead into the fourth quarter here at the Target Center in Minneapolis, needing to hold their lead to advance in the playoffs.
The Lakers are champions again. Kareem with it.
On the arc, 0 for 6. That's a 21-0 edge in the 3-point total. And speaking of great combinations, Dante Culpepper on the left, the Minnesota Vikings quarterback, and Randy Moss, one of the great wide receivers, who's on the Vikings. And Moss, who played high school basketball with Jason Williams of the Sacramento Kings, says, hey, a couple of years you'll see me on one of these NBA floors. Well, he's got the dream. Fourth quarter underway. Tim Duncan going in, no basket, and the foul committed before the shot.
Right now with Duncan really moving well, and the fact that the 3-point shooters are knocking it down, the guys who are coming on the trap are a step late, and that's understandable because they're trying to protect against their own man. But right now, you like Popovich's game plan. He's going to wear Duncan out.
Chauncey Billups with the foul. Sean Elliott with Malik Rose, Avery Johnson, Tim Duncan, and Antonio Daniels. 3 on the shot clock, and Rose has to fire up a wild one. 8-point lead for the Spurs early here in the fourth quarter.
Oh, give it to him. I see right there.
Offensive foul.
Slater just smashed into the defender and caught him with a forearm. No doubt about it. Good call.
4 fouls on Slater, and LaFonso Ellis will be checking into the game now as Slater goes out.
There was no need to do that, mainly because the screen was effective before the forearm, and then also Garnett was wide open for a layup.
Duncan in the game. Robinson on the bench right now. Duncan with 15 points. Scoring leader is Robinson. And going in is Rose, and no basket. Foul again before the shot. So 2 quick team fouls picked up by the Timberwolves in the first minute of this fourth quarter.
You love Malik Rose. He's missed so many games there in the course of the year because of injury, 25. But he was definitely up early in the year as for the 6th Man of the Year award. Right now, he's almost back at 100%.
Missed 24 games with hip and back injuries, and a foot block as Rose looking to get it into Tim Duncan. And the 14 seconds will be put back on the shot clock.
See, they do their movement. San Antonio makes the movement, Dick, and then what you have are 4 guys around the perimeter in a shell, and they're running Duncan from side of the lane into the lane to the opposite side to get him that one-on-one coverage.
Avery Johnson finds Antonio Daniels, who has hit 4 3-pointers tonight. Daniels on the penetration going out to Johnson. Pass to Sean Elliott, and Elliott cannot convert, and Ellis knocks the ball out, and it was last touched by San Antonio.
Get a basket right now and you're in business. Get a basket, it'll take the pressure off, get the building back into the game big time.
Spurs have won 12. The T-Wolves have won 12 of their last 13 here at the Target Center. Here is Ellis. Had the touch, fell off the rim.
Good shot opportunity, high percentage.
Avery Johnson coming off the bench. And has accepted his role. Duncan left open. Rebound off the offensive glass by Malik Rose, and backing in and committing the foul was Rose. That'll be his second.
Now that's Rose's game. You're coaching a guy like Rose, you never worry about loose ball fouls because he's out there, he's giving you everything that he has, and he's going to be forceful on the offensive glass, so he's going to shed people.
There's Wally Zerbiak leaving the game. He has scored 18, replaced by Mitchell, and Terrell Brandon into the game, along with Anthony Peeler. He has scored 8. Mitchell now will inbound the ball, so the Timberwolves, Flip Saunders has Brandon and Peeler, their starting guards, with LaFonso Ellis, Sam Mitchell, and Kevin Garnett. Here is Garnett with a turnaround. He has kept his team in the game. 19 for the T-Wolves. Garnett, 6-point lead. San Antonio trying to avoid going back to the Alamo Dome. Timberwolves trying to keep the series alive. Duncan. Brandon the rebound. That's the second open miss by Duncan in the last minute. He is 7 for 20 all told in the game.
Inside.
Garnett, and he was held. Rose.
Well, see, Rose
holding him.
Yeah, Rose and Garnett collided, Dick. Rose went down on the floor. They were looking for the pass, and then when they made the pass, good call.
And it was probably a good foul because the pass heading for Garnett would have been an easy layup for him.
Anytime that Garnett is down and low and Rose is behind him, you've got to get him the basketball.
Brandon controlling. And Garnett trying to set a screen on the outside. They go down low to LaFonso Ellis. Misses with a hook shot. Outlet pass to Antonio Daniels. And Garnett guarding Daniels. Mismatch somewhere. Peeler is on Malik Rose inside. And Rose misses the shot. Opportunity for the Spurs.
Yeah, great hustle. Everyone hustling, picking up in mismatches.
Ellis, air ball by Ellis. Picked up by Elliott with 3 minutes gone by. Still plenty of time. And a 6-point Spurs lead.
Main thing here is you're getting wide open shots. You just need a break. The ball's got to go in the basket for you.
Both teams 1 for 9 shooting here in the fourth quarter. There's the shot clock. Winding down. Daniels with the drive. And he's got it.
Could have been goaltending. Definitely could have been goaltending. The ball was still, you know, circling around in the rim, and Duncan hits the rim.
The lead is 8. Garnett with 19. And Sam Mitchell, guarded by Avery Johnson, has the size advantage.
Great.
But Duncan blocks it coming off the weak side. Big block by Tim Duncan. And Sean Elliott will set it up. Plenty of time on the shot clock. 11 seconds.
This is your chance now to get into double figures.
Double team and a foul. Peeler coming over to help LaFonso Ellis on Tim Duncan. And that'll be his 3rd foul. We'll have a timeout with just under 8 minutes to go in the fourth quarter.
The Wishblade has many
unbeatable, but we're going to be hard to beat.
Very confident is Don Nelson as you look at the leading scorers heading into Game 4 in that series.
Yeah, well, you get to win in Game 3 because Nowitzki comes out of the scoring slump. Nash and Howard put you big points on the board, but the guy that has to step up now, who's had such a fantastic year, is Michael Pittman.
Well, Kevin Garnett has stepped up all year for the Timberwolves, but they'll need some other people now, like Peeler, who has yet to score. And the crowd urging on the Timberwolves with under 8 minutes to go, trailing by 8 points. And here is the shot attempt. Garnett blocks Daniels.
Got to get this.
Randall lays it in. A big turnaround.
That was a sensational baby hook off the drive. And that's the advantage if you can finish with both hands.
And it's a 6-point game. Garnett with the big block. And the crowd remains on its feet now. Timberwolves trying to make a run here. Peeler staying with Avery Johnson, and it goes in. I thought I saw someone tip the ball while it was on the rim.
Yes, you have very good eyes.
Am I right?
Yes, you are.
But nothing was called. So again, an 8-point lead. Nearly 5 minutes gone by. Here is Slater working against Robinson. And it was deflected off of Robinson, who was arguing with Bob Delaney over that call.
Yeah, but it's Delaney's call. It's right in front of Delaney. And the ref on this side of the floor, Bill Spooner, you know, he did not make the call. Danny Crawford from the opposite side on the wing makes the call. That's why Flip Saunders is going nuts right now.
And that's why the officials try to get it right. And that's the main thing. Somebody had a better view of it. Spurs leading by 8.
See, Flip Saunders has got a great point, and that is the fact that David Robinson pushed the guy in his hip, right on the hip, that caused all of that.
Duncan with the one-hander too hard. Robinson offensive rebound. Robinson had a good rest on the bench, and the veteran should be very fresh down the stretch with 6:35 to go. Garnett talking to Duncan. Robinson going out to Avery Johnson with 6 on the shot clock, blocked, and Slater was there, and Avery Johnson challenging the big body of Slater, who picks up his 5th personal foul. One more, and he's gone.
Yeah, well, he definitely blocked the ball, but he catches him with his body. But you see the fans and also the coaching staff upset here. Now just watch as he comes. Now that's definitely a foul. I mean, it's not even close. But everyone's revved up. Flip Saunders is still revved up over the lack of a call at the other end. But when you got David Robinson, 8 times all defensive player, first or second team, he's going to get the non-call.
Avery Johnson missing the first attempt. Wally Zerbiak coming back into the game for the Timberwolves. Zerbiak has 18 points, 1 less than Garnett, topping the T-Wolves. And Johnson misses both. And the lead remains 8 for the San Antonio Spurs. Looking to advance to the Western Conference semifinals. They'll play the winner of the Mavericks and Jazz series, which stands 2-1 Dallas. Here's the 3, and 3-point shot finally by Anthony Peeler. It took a while. He missed his first 7 from the field.
Hey, that's okay. All they want him to do is get on fire now in the last 5 minutes and 50 seconds.
He hit 3 for 3 on Saturday, including 2 in the last couple of minutes. And 8 on the shot clock. Robinson nowhere to go with it. Nearly traveled. And Ferry, good block. Blocked by Slater. And the Timberwolves
advantage.
Staging a run. Here's Peeler again.
Yes!
2 in a row by Anthony Peeler. Timeout San Antonio. And the Timberwolves are back in the game.
This is a great example of a coach staying with a proven player when he's having a bad night because he has won so many games for you or kept the game close or put you ahead. with the pressure on in the fourth quarter.
No question about it. And earlier this year, Peeler hit 4 threes in a 5-minute span at San Antonio in the fourth quarter. Who said that when he was with the Lakers, Magic Johnson always told him, always think about the next one you're going to make. Never think about the ones you've already taken.
Well, sound advice. The transition game has been dormant until the middle of this fourth quarter. They are running. It's not the initial break. It's the trailer break, which is causing the damage. They're running to the areas of the three, and that's where Peeler is the most dangerous.
So a 2-point game in a desperation game for Minnesota at home with the crowd in its favor. 5:16 to go. Spurs lead 75-73. Derek Anderson to David Robinson and hitting over Reggie Slater.
I like that. That play was designed in the huddle by Popovich. They knew they had the mismatch. Slater is giving away so many inches to David Robinson, he can just shoot right up over the top.
Here is Zerbiak, and he lost it out of bounds. He feels that it was deflected by Danny Ferry, and that Zerbiak claiming he never touched the ball.
Well, he was open before the pass was on the way. And then it comes down to judgment. You know that. It's the angle of the referee. And naturally, if a player hits it off his hand, he's never going to say, hey, my bad. It's off to me. Not in this situation.
Ferry with Porter, Duncan Robinson, and Derek Anderson for the Spurs. Terry Porter leaves it out for Robinson with 3 on the shot clock. David Robinson now with 19 points and 12 rebounds, and the leading scorer once again for San Antonio.
The Robinson opened up Dick because Slater left Robinson to help out on that dribbler.
So the lead is 6. Garnett posting up against Duncan. Wants the ball from Brandon.
Yeah, he sure does.
Double team with Porter out to Brandon. Nice. Inside the 3-point line. Brandon hits. He's got 12.
Yeah, they're an outstanding 2-man game. Mainly because Garnett is so quick, you have to go back in and double him. And then when you run at Brandon, he's a slippery guy. He's a proven scorer under pressure, and the 15 to 17-foot game is his.
Here's Ferry looking for Duncan. Garnett gets a piece of the ball, and the foul is called. The Timberwolves are in the penalty. Kevin Garnett, with his 3rd personal foul, will send Duncan to the free throw line. And Duncan so far tonight is 1 for 4 from the stripe. Makes the first. NBA playoff coverage continues tomorrow on TBS. Bucks and the Magic, followed by the Jazz and the Mavericks. Both game 4s. Coverage will begin at 7 p.m. Eastern as playoff action continues throughout the week on Turner Sports.
Now that's a primetime player stepping up, taking the pressure, and he's been struggling all year on the foul line, and he goes 2 for 2.
Duncan reaching in. The Spurs had 2 fouls to give, and Tim Duncan chalking up his 3rd foul. Now they have 1 foul to give.
Main thing for Minnesota now is good movement and high percentage shots.
Zerbiak will inbound. He's got Brandon, Slater, Garnett, and Peeler.
2-man game.
The trap. Into the corner. Here's Peeler. Air ball. So Peeler hit 2 in a row.
Look out here now. Look out.
Here is Ferry for 3. Yes. Close to a dagger. It's still early, but that is close to a dagger. They're getting it out of the scabbard right now.
Well, you see, you love Terry Porter. I mean, he's been in the league for so long, it seems like forever. He's the proven veteran, and when on that break, he did not want to push.
Walt Szczerbiak, the smile not on his face as the Timberwolves trail by 9 as we wind down to 3 minutes to go. Here's Garnett to Szczerbiak. 3 minutes to go. Timberwolves need points. They thought 90 would do it. They've got 75, and it's going to be hard-pressed to get to the 90 mark. 7 seconds on the shot clock. The ball knocked out of bounds. Flip Saunders done a great job coaching this team. The best record of an 8th seed in the history of NBA playoffs. There's Brandon. Looking behind to see where Porter was. Missed the shot. Robinson the rebound.
Yeah, give them a lot of credit. You know, they're in the top 6 defensive categories. They're in the top 3.
Ellis blocking the shot by Porter, and Szczerbiak going against Robinson, goes around him and is fouled. Boy, he showed some quickness there, not known for that against Robinson inside. Let's check in with D. Lynham right now.
Well, Dick, in the last Minnesota timeout, you can imagine a lot of tension. You've now fallen behind 9, and Flip Saunders kept referring to the weak side defense. KG turned to Wally and said, I'm having a tough time figuring out which side is the weak side. And then everybody burst into laughter, so a little levity at a tough time right now.
And it always helps. Takes away a lot of the pressure. Good report, D. Meanwhile, Szczerbiak now 7 of 8 from the line. Garnett with 19 points, and Szczerbiak can take over the scoring lead for Minnesota with 20 if he makes the free throw, and he does. David Robinson committed the foul. That was his 5th, by the way.
Right now, you've got to buckle it up defensively. Right, you have to press. It looks like a little 2-2-1. Be careful now with the corner shot.
7-point lead. Duncan driving and fouled, and will go to the line with 2:29 to go. Tim Duncan with 17 points in the game. Very quiet performance tonight for Duncan.
When you go with a 2-2-1 in that type of a situation, Dick, you have to get a hard trap. They did not get a hard trap. San Antonio right to the corner. Anderson, instead of forcing a shot, looked right down inside.
Duncan, who is now 4 for 7 from the line, has made his last 3. So when I said it was a quiet night for Duncan, didn't dominate, but he was the go-to guy when they needed it, and has 14 rebounds on top of all that. He makes both free throws. So he's done it under pressure, and the Spurs leading by 9 with 2:25 remaining in the 4th quarter. Time beginning to run out in Minnesota's hopes to extend the playoffs. Brandon knocked away, lost the ball out of bounds.
Well, that's a situation why he's one of your primetime guys. I was kind of surprised that Garnett has not been involved in the last couple of times down the floor. Here's that trap, 2-2-1.
Robinson could not hold on to that pass. So the Timberwolves get it back. Nearly 2 minutes remaining in the 4th. Ellis. And Duncan with his 15th rebound. Under 2 minutes to go, 4th quarter. And the crowd quieted here. They were so raucous when we started tonight. This has been a big crowd for the Timberwolves all year, where they won 30 of 41 games. Here's Derek Anderson, fouled by LaFonso Ellis, and Anderson will shoot a pair.
See, smart basketball. You had a mismatch. They were faking a screen and roll with Duncan, but it was all just a con because they were going to go, once it hit that 6 seconds on the shot clock, one-on-one on Ellis to see if he could defend Anderson off the dribble.
Anderson scoreless tonight until that free throw, but he does have 6 assists. As we remind you, coming up on Inside the NBA, presented by Hyundai, Ernie Johnson, along with Kenny Smith in the studio. Preview of tomorrow's doubleheader matchups on TBS. Bucks Magic, Jazz and Mavericks, both crucial game 4s. And we'll also have live post-game reaction from tonight's game right here between the Spurs and the Wolves. So a timeout called by Minnesota. They have 1 full timeout left and a 20. Business side, Joe Smith declared a free agent. The team was penalized draft picks. They'll only have 1 number 1 in the next 5 years. So they lost Joe Smith as well. Good start, finished so-so, and had a great home record this year. Kevin Garnett, their star, But as we've said many times, that 47-35 record. Last year they won 50, but still the best 8th-seeded record ever. And Flip Saunders did a terrific job with what he had out there this year.
Absolutely. Well, the talent here has finally stepped up. And we all know that you're talking about the best defensive team in the league in San Antonio. And they've been able to step up big here because their perimeter game finally snapped into rhythm.
Anthony Peeler with the basket, under a minute and a half to go. And Duncan feeding Robinson, and they get it. The Spurs feeling it, and San Antonio, and don't think the Spurs are not keeping track of what the Lakers have done in case those two teams should meet in the Western Conference Finals. The Lakers sweeping Portland. It looks like their game is back. Duncan is going to get the easy layup and use some time as he stuffs it through, but the San Antonio Spurs, you know, did not want to go to a 5th game knowing that the Lakers are getting a lot of rest as they prepare for their next matchup in the semifinals. Brandon from the corner, that's a 2-point basket, and it's 92-81.
You brought out a good point earlier, Dick, and that was in that first half with Rose coming off the bench, giving him the spark. Daniels coming off the bench, giving him 11 points. And then every guy that came in. Then in the second half, Ferry steps up in the third quarter, gives him a solid 11 points.
Well, Ferry has hit 4 3-pointers in the game, and Antonio Daniels also has 4, and that amounts to the 8 that they have hit. Kevin Garnett hit with a technical foul. Derek Anderson with the free throw with under 1 minute to go, 53.6 on the clock.
Now, San Antonio's second leading scorer during the course of the season, Derek Anderson at 16 points. When you think of tonight, it's kind of bewildering that he only has 3 points, all at the foul line, and they all just came in the last 15 seconds.
But he has 6 assists, so he's done the job in other ways. David Robinson going to the bench, having scored 21 points and 14 rebounds. Danny Ferry, who had 2 points in the first quarter, winds up with 16. So 14 in the second half, all smiles, and 4 3-pointers.
Well, as you look at the second half, Dick, the defense step up for San Antonio. Robinson and Duncan go to the foul line. They make their foul shots. The perimeter guys make the 3-point scoring. And then at the other end, they're giving 0 second shot chances.
And Duncan on the free throw line hitting the first. So Duncan struggling early and then was dead-eyed down the stretch. He's hit his last 5. Spurs defense, and that's what they're all about. Greg Popovich telling us before the game, our points may be down, but we live and die by our defense. Holding the Timberwolves to 40% shooting. Anthony Peeler missing the 3, Duncan the rebound. It's 94-81. And the Minnesota foul is called against Brandon. So the San Antonio Spurs sending Flip Saunders out of the playoffs, and once again Minnesota finding that 4th game of a playoff series hard to shake. They have lost every 4th game they have been in 5 or 4 straight years. They were swept the first year by Houston. San Antonio coming in with the best record in the NBA at 58-24. And Greg Popovich, whose team won the NBA title in the shortened year 2 years ago, lost to the Suns last year 3-1. But that was without Tim Duncan, who was out with a knee injury. Brandon hitting the 3. The lead is 12. That's 4 possessions. But you're looking at an experienced team, not about to cough it up.
Yeah, well, what they've done here now in the last minute and a half has been very solid basketball. Run the clock, take your time, spread them out, and then shoot the gap with either a Duncan or your other big man. At this time, it's Rose who's in the game.
4 seconds on the shot clock, 17.5 in the game. So Greg Popovich angry at his team's performance on Saturday. sloppiness and turnovers affecting them, and they certainly closed a lot of those problems down tonight.
Well, the big factor in that game, not only the 18 turnovers, but the 12 steals. The 12 steals by Minnesota got them out in the open court for a tune of 23 points. We have not seen that tonight.
And Garnett grabbing a hold of Anderson with 1.4 on the clock. So fans here at the Target Center watching their team for the last time this year. Brandon having a terrific year at point guard. Remember, he came over in that three-team trade. Stephon Marbury. And for Kevin Garnett, he's had teammates like Marbury, Tom Gugliotta, Joe Smith, the late Malik Sealy, and the supporting cast so important. They've got someone to build with Zerbiak for the future.
Well, you look at Garnett's accomplishments this year. You know he's going to be on the All-NBA team, either first or second team. He's going to be on the All-Defensive team, either first or second team. And then when you look at his numbers, 22, 12, and 5 assists, he's had a fantastic year.
He has, but the trail has come to an end for the Minnesota Timberwolves, who have been eliminated by the San Antonio Spurs in 4 games. The final score here at the Target Center, the Spurs 97 and the Timberwolves 84. And so San Antonio will go on and await the winner of the series between the Mavericks and the Jazz, and you'll see that in the second half of our doubleheader tomorrow night on TBS in the best of 7 Western Conference semifinals. Duncan with 24 points. That was a very quiet 24 points, 16 rebounds. David Robinson also with a double-double with 21 and 14. As you look at the brackets now, Spurs have advanced. They'll play the winner of Utah-Dallas. The Lakers sweeping the Portland Trailblazers. And Sacramento leading Phoenix 2-1 with their next matchup Wednesday on TNT at 10:30. Let's go out to D-Liner.
Well, thanks much, Dick. I am with 2 elder statesmen, if you will, and I mean that in the kindest way, David and Danny. But tonight was about execution coming off Game 3, and really, by the end of the game, you had just improved in so many areas. David, where did it come from?
Well, I think defensively, we were much better throughout the game. In game 3, they got a lot of open shots on the corners, shooting those three-pointers, and it really killed us. And I thought we got a little bit better off early getting the shooters, so they didn't have open shots. And I think, you know, they only scored, what, 30-something points in the first half, and that's the way we want to play basketball.
Danny, coming in, guys had not been able to knock down shots at the perimeter, and Pop said, you know what, we're getting good looks, but just not going in. Daniels made them in the first half. You made them in the third. Were they better looks?
They were better looks tonight. We did a good job of moving the ball, for one. The bigs got it out real well. And we have good shooters on this team. Eventually, shots are going to start falling for us between Tony, Terry, all the guys we have out there. We have guys that can make shots, and guys did a great job of finding us tonight.
And I know now you guys get to go back and look and see Dallas or Utah. Yeah. But this was just the first step, David. What next?
Well, we got to get better. We got to continue to get better. I don't care what people say. Minnesota is a very good team. They're a tough team. They battle in there. They're very physical. It was a great first round for us. And I think it's going to prepare us well for the second round. We just go back to drawing board, get our defense going again, and shoot a lot of shots.
All right, thanks both for your time. Good luck for the rest of the way.
Thank you.
All right, Dick and Hubie.
All right, D. Well, the Spurs tonight had it going from threes. They had 8 for 14 from three-point range, with Ferry and Daniels each hitting 4. For the Timberwolves, Wally Zerbiak led them with 20. Kevin Garnett had 19 points. And once again, our final score tonight, the San Antonio